Shalom. I'm going to start by giving all praises, honors, and glories to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Wadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders, great millstone, who taught us this 100% truth, according to the spirits of be Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Peace and blessing to the hopeful elect after pushing this word through the four corners of the earth in sincerity. And peace and blessing after to you hopeful believers out there, which are also a part of the elect. I say Shalom. And once again, I want to say, call Allah, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Wadash. Forgive me, the Rachak Wadash, the Holy Spirit, to do the lesson on today. Lord, willing to feed you, lamb and the sheep of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, man. Now we got a video through the power and spirit of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. And I want to go into it through the spirit, man. Pretty much, you must rule your flesh or it will rule you, man. And that's what this thing is all about. It's about discipline in the spirit. You must rule and suppress the desires, the lust of your flesh, because those desires and the lust of the flesh, those 9 times out of 10, a lot of those are contrary towards the will and what the spirit wants to be done. Paul tells us all the time, through the Romans, how the spirit, it's another law that dwelleth in his member that wars against the law of his mind. So you got to rule your flesh, because if you don't rule your flesh, put your flesh in check, there's many ways to do that. You can fast. Fasting is a way to put your flesh in check, But, other things, through the spirit, praying. But, just in your day-to-day basis, you got to be, it's a constant fight, Exodus tell you how Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai is a man of war. And that's one of the battles that his men have to fight when they come into this earth. They are put in these chains of darkness, and you got to battle that. And if you don't fight that battle through the power and spirit of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, if you give up and give in, that's where you're going to lose, because now the flesh has fully taken over and you'll be fulfilling the lust of the flesh. And also, because I remember, the elder out here in Jim Dallas, the elder Yadaka, he said that through the spirit, man, you got to rule your flesh or your flesh going to rule you. You got to put your flesh in check. You got to have jurisdiction over it, man. You're going to fuck up here and there. That's the point of it. That's the point of Yahweh Shai. We're going to come short, but what is coming short? We're striving for perfection. So you got to fight your flesh. But I want to get also, because that's not, he said that through the spirit. And ultimately, even going to Elijah the prophet, Abba Bivens, he said that that's a key component when it comes to serving Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. And I'm going to read it. And matter of fact, I'm going to have a picture popped up, but it says, this is a quote, from the elder Abba Bivens, Elijah the prophet, John the Baptist. It says, he said, in order, and ultimately this is the Lord saying that through him. He's just a vessel, we all know, and the spirit is on him. He said, in order to be part of this school, you must have the gift. And it's a little pause. So first off, you got to have the gift. You got to have faith, because in order for you to really have discipline and to fight the flesh, in order for you to fight the flesh, it's going to always be backed by the fear, because you wouldn't be fighting the flesh if you didn't fear the consequences of fulfilling the lust of the flesh. So you first must have the gift first. Hebrews 2 tell you. I think it's Hebrews 4 tells you that, not being mixed with faith. But then he goes on to say, you must control the mind so that the lust will not consume your bodies. And it just made me think about this scripture. I want to pull this real quick. This is Matthew 15, right? And where is it at? Yeah, this is Matthew 15. I'm going to get the point. Verse 18, it says, but those things will proceed out of the mouth, come forth from the heart, and they defile the man. And Yahweh is going to go into those things. It says, for out of the heart proceed evil thoughts, murderers, adulteries, fornicators, thefts, false witnesses, blasphemies. These things which defile a man, but to eat with unwashed hands defileth not a man. So, he's just rebuking the Sadducees and Pharisees, but Yahweh Shai saying, like, the things that defile you are what your mind pushes out throughout the body, and the body acts out. What you speak, what you proclaim, what you stand for, how you maneuver. And those things, and on those things that he was talking about, the heart, the la'ab of the flesh, the mind of the flesh. And what was the mind of the flesh? It loves to do evil things, adverse things towards Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai. And if you give into that, ultimately you're going to be doing what? The works of Satan. You will no longer be doing the works of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai. And if you're doing the works of Satan, the Lord going to offer your ass. Because that's what he's going to do to the workers of Satan. The workers of Satan, the Lord going to offer your ass. If you're in America, you're going to be caught up in the 200 nuclear missile destruction, the second death. And if you're scattered across the world, you're going to be caught up in the judgment of the Lord. At the end of the day, you're not escaping the Lord's judgment if you're Israelite. You know, if you're sitting here being a worker of Satan, then you're an Israelite. So that what comes out of the mind of the flesh. So if you don't battle that, like we just read, the elder, the high priest, you know what I'm saying? Abba Bivin, he said what? If you must control the mind so the lust will not consume your bodies, you know? And you gotta, that's the thing. Yahweh Shai, he told us that. You know, I'm going to get it real quick. This is Matthew 16:24 says, Then Yahweh Shai said unto the disciples, If any man will come after me, and when you go into the word disciple, it means discipline. That's the root, discipline. And in order for us to get to the kingdom of heaven, we're going to have discipline. We're going to have control over our mind so those lusts won't be carried out. You know, because we understand that those lusts, at the end of all, those lusts are going to lead you to condemnation, condemnation, which is being put in a second death. And ultimately going to lead you to judgment, lead you to being destroyed by Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai. That's what those lusts are going to do. Because right now, those lusts are not the lust of the spirit. They're lust of wicked things right now. Now, it's going to come, which people like say we're in a new covenant. We're not. It's going to come where the Lord's going to give us new bodies. Jeremiah 31 tells you. And the lust of those bodies are going to be to fulfill the will of the Lord, not to fulfill adverse things towards the Lord. You know, that's when you could let your lust or your flesh go crazy, because it's going to be not a chain of darkness. It's not going to be nothing bounding us no more. But it says, Then said Yahweh to his disciples, If any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me daily. And that's the point I wanted to get. Deny himself. You got to deny yourself. You got to deny your lust, your wants, your desires, because sometimes... Because that's the thing, too, because the lust of your flesh, sometimes they're not necessarily wicked things, but they could just be things that are not expedient and convenient at the moment. You know, I'm going to get to this. Is because Paul speaks about it. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 12. It says, All things are lawful unto me, but all things are not expedient, which means convenient, you know. All things are lawful for me, but I will not be brought under power of any. Exactly, because there's certain things that are lawful for you, you know, that your flesh likes to do. Drinking, laying with women, if they don't have a man, so on and so forth. But not all those things could be convenient for every person's situation. What's convenient for me is not going to be convenient for another brother, so on and so forth. And if you don't check that stuff, if you don't check your flesh, you know, that could become what? That could become a thorn to you. That could become essentially a power over you. And that's what he said. Like he said in the prior, latter part of the verse, but I will not be brought under the power of any. Exactly. It could become a power over you. It could become a power. You could drink. It could get to the point where you worship and you're drinking, but you're not asking on your knees. Oh, the bottle! Oh my gosh, the bottle! Henny! No, you're not on your knees praying to it. But now you're in a situation where you're going to the bottle, you're drinking alcohol excessively, and not doing what you need to do in the spirit. Those things can get in the way of you doing what you need to do in the spirit. That's when it starts to become a god unto your power, because the main thing we need to be doing is fulfilling the will of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua. That must be the tippity top thing on our list that we need to do, and make sure the Lord has his time. But if you're giving his time over to hella drinking, hella being with women, going to clubs, so on and so forth, those things could become a god, a power unto you, and therefore you'll be fulfilling the lust of your flesh and not really doing the will of the Lord. But those things are not necessarily wicked. They're not necessarily sins, but it could become a form of sin because it become a god unto you, pretty much, you know. But they're not necessarily sins, though. But that's the thing, though. You got to have control over your flesh. Because not having control over your flesh could lead to what? You doing things like that. You know? This is, this is 1 John chapter 2, verse 16. This is, for all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of eyes, and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. And as a matter of fact, I want to get that word lust. All right, we're getting that word lust. And it says, I'm going to play it.
Strong's G, 1939. Epithumia. Epithumia.
And when you go into it, it says desire, craving, longing, desire what is forbidden lust. So the desire of flesh, what? The desire, craving of what the flesh wants. Your flesh is craving this. You know what I'm saying? You fulfilling the lust of your flesh. Your flesh is craving, fornicating is craving things that are not expedient for your situation. What? That's not of the Father. Why? Because that's going to lead to you not being a profitable servant unto Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai. At the end of the day, we want to show our usefulness to Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai. And in order for us to show our usefulness to Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai, we have to do what he told us to do. We have to do what the vessels are designed to do. You know, we got to do what we're supposed to do. The Lord told us what? We're supposed to be out here proclaiming liberty unto the captives, telling Esau to downfall his queendom, and in our day-to-day lives, showing a lifestyle that shows that you fear the Lord to the best of your ability, repenting things on, so on and so forth. That's what you're supposed to be doing. Not fulfilling the lust of your flesh. You're overly drinking, doing things that are not expedient for your situation, but they're lawful, but they're not expedient. Or you're just doing wicked things, you know. That's what you're not supposed to be doing. And if you sit there and if you don't battle the flesh, you know, this is what happens. Because as a prime example, look at the niggas in the world. 2/3, they don't have nothing to battle the flesh. They could care less about battling the flesh. But when you came to serve Yahweh Basham Shai, now you have a mechanism to battle the flesh with the spirit. You know, and there's, you know, you're going to fall short. You're going to fuck up. You're going to do things, you know, that you wouldn't confess to brothers probably. It's too bad in your spirit, on your spirit, whatever. You're going to do things. That's why Yahweh Shai was here. Just man fall 7 times, but get back up. You got to keep pushing, keep going, and keep doing what he needs you to do. Which the Lord don't necessarily need us. Let me get that straight too. Lord don't need us to do nothing. We need to do it for ourselves, because if we don't do it for ourselves, we're not going to receive salvation. So we need to keep doing what we need to do. We need to keep doing what we need to do forward in the Lord's will, so the Lord have mercy on us. You know, because the Lord doesn't need the prophets after to teach. You know, just straighten that up real quick. But he don't need us after to teach. We need him to keep the spirit on us so we can receive salvation. But if you're over here being in a malicious, you know, having a malicious spirit, having a malicious spirit and things like that, feeling lust of the flesh, eventually the Lord going to take a spirit off you, man. And that's going to be the end of you. Because if you ain't got the spirit on you, you're just a dead body. You're just doing what you're just doing as everybody else, fulfilling the lust of the flesh, which what is the Lord said, that's not of the Father. I'm going to finish it out though. It says, 1 John 2:16, for all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life is not of the Father, but of the world. And who's in rulership of the world right now? Job 9:24, Esau, Edom, man, the so-called white man. You know, he's in rulership of the world. And if you don't have that control over your flesh, that discipline over your flesh, you're just going to be a Esau. You're going to be a Satan puppet just running around here, man. As you see, today is the celebration of Samhain. You're going to be doing shit like that because you have no control over your flesh. The kids. The candy, free candy. Or whatnot, which brothers shouldn't really be eating hella candy anyways. But, you know, if you eat candy here and there, I myself might grab a chocolate bar here and there. But so that's not everyday thing. But, you know, nevertheless, you're giving up a sacrifice into an idol because of your lust of the flesh. That's what you see people doing today. I'm going to get this. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 25. And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. So if you want to be a master of something, you know what I'm saying? Or you're trying to achieve something, You must have a temperate like motive, temperate like mindset moving with that task. Temperate means to abstain from things that can hinder a certain position. You don't want nothing to hinder you from receiving salvation. As the scriptures say, cut off thy right hand that if offend thee, least the whole body perish in hell. So that means what? Cut that thing off, which is close to dear to you, your right hand. They could be holding you back. But the end result is that the whole body not going to perish, just that arm. That's you cutting off those desires. Because it lets you know that what? It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt to cut your arm off. It's going to hurt. It's going to be something that you really like to do. But you understand through the spirit that, hey, I need to get rid of this. Because if I don't get rid of this, this is going to get power over me. And if this gets power over me, this can result of me not doing what I need to do for Yahweh B'Hashem Shai. So I can receive salvation. Going back to what our business say. If you don't control the lust is going to control the body. You know, you got to control your lust of the flesh. You got to control it. We'll keep going. It says, let me read from top, 1 Corinthians 9:25. And every man that striveth for the mastery is tempered in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible crown. Exactly. When you try to receive salvation, you got to be tempered. Same reason how them niggas do in the world to get money and whatnot. With ultimately, the end right is that they eventually sell out. And if they don't sell out, they already sold their soul to Satan by the lifestyle they're living. But we doing it in righteousness. And that's going to come along with what? Temperance, discipline, abstaining from things that could prevent us from receiving salvation. That's what it goes into what? That's what it means to have control over the flesh. Because if you don't have control over the flesh, then the flesh is going to control you, and you're not going to be in the mindset of being temperate and doing things and shaving things and examining yourself so you could be ready when Yahweh Shah returns. You're going to be in the spirit of doing la la goo goo, YOLO, we only live once type spirit, which is the fulfill of the lust of the flesh. You're going to pretty much be doing sodomy, which when you go into the word sodomy, it means burning. That means you just burning, you just itching, craving to do the wickedness of the flesh. And not craving to do the will of the Lord. But we ended off with this. This is Romans chapter 8. Which this chapter is very juicy. You can really, You can really start at 1. But let me see. I'm going to just start at verse 5. It says, for they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh. Right? That's when your flesh, that's you not having temperance. That's you not having control and ruling your flesh. If you don't rule your flesh, you're going to mind the things of the flesh. Which, what are the things that what do we just read about in Matthew 16? Those things lead on to death. Those things do not lead on to salvation. But it says, but they that after the spirit, the things of the spirit. That's going into being single. If you say single and focus upon Yahweh Shai, you're going to desire and crave spiritual things and not things of the flesh. Keep going. It says, for to be carnally minded is death. Carnal going to fleshly minded leads to death. But to be spiritually minded is life and peace. So to have the mind, spiritually minded, meditating upon the spiritual things, kingdom of heaven, the will of the Lord being established upon the earth, things like that, that's going to bring forth life. And that's also going to promote a lifestyle that's going to bring forth life, and it's going to bring forth the fear of the Lord in your lifestyle to where you're going to be pleasing the Lord. Because carnal mind is not going to please the Lord. The Lord is not like you read in Matthew 23, I think. Yahweh said that, the Lord is not the God of the dead. He's the God of the living. So unless you know the Lord, he's for life. He's not for death, really. If he was, Esau would be the chosen, but he's not. It's the sons of God. Right? Keep going. Verse 7 says, because the carnal mind is enmity. Enmity means to be put at odds, opposition, enemy. So the carnal mind is enmity against Yahweh B'Hashem Shai. For it is not subject to the law of God, neither can be. So they that are in the flesh cannot please Yahweh B'Hashem Shai. So if you do not have control over your flesh, it's going to cause you to create enmity between you and Yahweh B'Hashem Shai. So those that live after the flesh and things like that, it's going to cause you to live a lifestyle that the Lord ain't fucking with. If the Lord don't like it, he get rid of it. You're just going to fall into the same boat as the heathen, because that's what the heathen do. The heathen don't live a lifestyle pleasing to the Lord, which they're not supposed to yet, really, because the proper ruler's not in order telling them how to live. They wasn't given the understanding on how to properly live, but the sons of God were, the Israelites. But the wicked of the nation of Israel chose to stir off the other way, as it speaks about in Jeremiah 2. They said they don't want to walk in that righteous path. They rather be that degenerate plant in the eye of the Lord. And the Lord's going to get rid of that shit, man. But the thing is, if you don't have control of the flesh, you will be of that degenerate plant. Now at the end of the day, our righteousness is as a filthy rag. But like it says, we should be perfect like our Father is in heaven. So we should strive for mastery, strive to be complete. And that's going to come with you examining and mortifying the members of your flesh. That's how to go. You must rule your flesh or it will rule you. And that's what's going to happen, man. That's a key thing. When you serving Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, you must serve him in fear and faith. And if you serve him in fear and faith and being humble, that's going to lead to you ruling your flesh, because that fear is going to be a great motivator to rule your flesh, because you're going to be thinking about the consequences of you not ruling your flesh. Because the ultimate consequence of you not ruling your flesh is taking that C-hip. Because when Esau established and brings out that C-hip, the C-hip is attacking the ones that are craving and desiring the fleshly desires. It ain't going to affect the elect, because the elect are not desiring the flesh. They're not desiring it. Like Scripture say, they live not their lives unto death. He that loveth his life shall lose it, and he that hateth life shall gain everlasting. That's talking about the elect. They're not going to live their life. They're not going to live the desires of the flesh, being in this captivity. They're not going to love that. So the C-hip is not going to work on them. The MOTB is not going to work, but it's going to work on you niggas, the ones that don't have control over the flesh. And yes, if you proclaim to be serving the Lord, but you don't have control over your flesh and you're just fulfilling the lust of the flesh, you're pretty much a nigga. You're not doing the will of the Lord. And if you're doing that, you need to quit acting in the vibration of niggas and act in the vibration of Yahweh. So I need to repent, pray, fast, do what you need to do to not be acting like a nigga in the sight of the Lord. Because it's even worse on your part, because you know the scriptures, So Lord, willing, this is edifying through the power and spirit of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, and feed you lamb and sheep of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, man. We're going to end up with saying, Call halal, Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, B'Hashem R'chakwadash. I want to give the honor to the apostle of the great millstone. And as the title go, and as the greatest prophet Elijah said, hey, you must have control over your flesh, or your flesh is going to rule you. And that's a key thing, man. That's heavy. Because if you don't have control over your flesh, it's going to be a bumpy ride for you. And if you don't never get control of your flesh, just go ahead and get you a front seat to the fireworks that's going to happen during the second death. But to y'all, I'm going to say shalom.